Well, Viva La Vida is a song like Yes, in that it's trying for the first time to be another character. And that's where all the idea for the artwork of the album comes from, that song. And I think along with Lost, that's like the other cornerstone, you know? And that's the song that we're most looking forward to playing live, because it has a good sing-along at the end. I don't know if it was from reading something or other, but or maybe it was after seeing some, like the Scarlet Pimpernel or something. I can't remember, but the idea of a king who has really messed up. I mean, you know, it doesn't take an idiot to work out who this might be. But, you know, there's a lot of people who are leaders for a while, and then towards the end of it, they realise, oh, I didn't do such great things, and everyone's kind of storming the palace. So that song's about that sort of last 10 minutes when all the revolutionaries are banging on the door. What might be going through your head, you know? That's whenever I think about that song, I think about great big doors being banged on.
It wasn't the easiest of songs to get right. You know, it had a few different incarnations along the way, but I'm really pleased with the place it's ended up in.
I think that song, Viva La Vida, for me, it's my favourite vocal I think that Chris has ever done in terms of the lyrically, just because it's so evocative. It's the spirit of the record, that particular song and that vocal. It's just, unfortunately, we had we were always talking about these decisions, brave decisions that we wanted to make, and not wanting to sound like old Coldplay or whatever, not trying to repeat anything we'd done. And there were, like Guy says, a couple of incarnations of that song which sounded a little conservative, and I thought the best way to make it stand out would be to just strip it back from all the instrumentation apart from the strings and the piano, really, and it's just got a bass drum and a bell, and there's not much else to it, and the song has a chance to breathe.
Well, Violet Hill is really Johnny's stepping up to the plate, to me, because everybody knows that the singer of Coldplay does what he does, and the chords will do what they do, but no one really... It always kind of annoyed me that Johnny never quite got as much credit as I think he should have. So what I like about that song, and the reason why we're putting it out first, is because it's just so full of Johnny, just being like a guitar hero.
I got this old guitar synthesizer, which probably was used by Brian May, the kind of thing, in like 1972. And it just sounded so raw, and that I had to use it on something, and this was the perfect song to use it on.
And it's our first attempt at a protest song and all these kind of things. I'm always angry, so I probably am angry in it. That's about working for someone you don't like at all. A carnival of idiots, you know? And there's another song about wanting to escape it, and so it says, if you love me, let me know, you know, like, if you love me, let's get out of here. But then it could be the carnival of idiots saying, if you love me, let me know. Who knows what it's about? I don't. It just came out like that.
I think Violet Hill is a good illustration of one area, one of many colours, and if people hopefully appreciate that it is slightly different to things we've done before, then that will set a precedent for the rest of the record, which I hope, I believe that it certainly has more depth and more colour to it than we had before.
We always knew we wanted that song to be the first thing people heard. How it's termed and how it's categorised is, we would say something different. We really don't want to do the whole thing of singles, and it's all. We like to think of it as just a giveaway. It's our first giveaway. But everybody agreed that it should be the first piece of music that anyone heard, because, like we said earlier, it's very much a Johnny fest, and it's a good air guitar song. It's a good indicator of our new mentality, not necessarily our new sound, because we're trying lots of different sounds. But it's a good indicator that we're moving into different areas.
Strawberry Swing was a song that you played me years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Almost.
Well, no,
A couple of years ago, certainly.
just right at the beginning of the whole writing, yeah.
Yeah, but then we'd sort of forgotten about.
I hadn't forgotten about it.
Well, we sort of left it, didn't we? We thought, well, we'll do these others.
Well, Will didn't like it, let's face it. And then he changed his mind, and then we were allowed to do it.
I have this terrible reputation for being the one who kind of poo-poos everything, but
There's an element of truth.
I'm sure there is. But I have to say, on a handful of occasions, I've been very wrong about songs, and often it is more to do with the fact that I don't feel like I've got anything good going on in it, and that was the case for Strawberry Swing for a long time. I couldn't see where it was going rhythmically, and fortunately, Chris was really persistent about this. We found this old drum loop that was from a sound check we'd done a couple of years ago, and we just kind of chopped it up and beefed it up a bit, and that was enough to kind of to really change your perception of a song. And I'm happy to admit that I was wrong about it, and I'm very glad about the fact that that everyone else was so persistent, and it kind of came through to be a fantastic part of the album.
It wasn't painless to get it going, but it was quite nice because it was one of those nice surprises at the end, in the same way as 42 was, really.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just, it's a really important song on the record, and it's a really good sort of finishing song. Although it's not the ultimate, it's not the last song on the record. I just think it's just a nice note to finish up on.
Strawberry Swing is the beginning of the end of the album, and it's the beginning of the everything's okay kind of part. So we like it because it's very warm, and when all the noise about how much we've changed or how much we're experimenting and how much this and how much we sound like this person, when all that is over in about 3 months, then it'll just be left with which songs are people going to like. And I think that Strawberry Swing will be a lot of people's favourite song. And I like it because it's warm and it's, it's positive, and all the things that we shouldn't admit to being are in that song, because it's all saved by Will. When Will doesn't like something, it tends to be because he hasn't come up with something brilliant on it yet. And as soon as he does, then he turns into not his favourite, but... So that song was Waiting, it was a conventional ballad, and then we came up with this guitar thing, but also Will started doing weird rhythms on it, and then we all prick up our ears, because we don't want to hear the same beats or chord changes that we did 4 years ago.